Sorry guys, it happened again. It happened again. My husband phoned asking if I wanted anything from Asda. So it cut off. That is a bit of a pain, to be honest. I need to get a webcam. I really do need, not a webcam. Yeah, it is a webcam. I need to get myself a webcam. Because I can't be doing with that all the time. So anyway, I've been through the mill a bit when my eyes first really started taking a nosedive. But it don't bother me anymore. I don't get upset about it. I think the only time I do get upset, the only time things really do get to me, is when it involves my guide dog and people have a go at my guide dog. And then that's when the witch comes out, shall I say. Because I get really pissed off. Because I have had people spit at her, kick her, and then I see red, as would anybody. For anybody to just stand there and take it and not do anything. No. Teresa does not stand there and put up with all that crap and let them kick her and spit on her just because they don't like dogs and they think she's dirty. Not happening. I have had people refuse and not allow her in shops, and as soon as anything like that happens, I just get in touch with guide dogs and they sort it, because you cannot refuse her, can't refuse her in a shop. But when they do, I just have to let them do it, then ring guide dogs and guide dogs sort it. But there are some, believe me, there's some ignorant people, some real ignorant people. I do like that. That looks great, that. That looks lovely. And I know he'll like that. And what I've also got, because he's more of a cat lover than he is a dog lover. Where's it gone? What have I done with it? Julie, you laid on it. I'm sorry. Are you laid on? Look. Oh no, it's here. I got that. I've had that years, this book. And I don't use it. I don't use it at all. And I'm going to cut pictures out of it. Actually, I think my nephew gave me this. Not who I'm doing this journal for, but my other nephew gave it me because he had it years ago when he got a rag doll. We've still got one, and he got this book for that. And there's some beautiful pictures in it, really nice. It's a shame there's no black and white pictures. Cat, I want some black and white pictures of a cat. That looks like my Mel. I've got a cat called Mel. Well, we call her Little Mel. And that one just looks like her. This one here. Just looks like her. Only down here, this is not white. She's like that all over. She's all tortoiseshell. And she were a cruelty case. We rescued her from a friend. And the friend wasn't very nice to her. They were horrible to her. They got her at 5-week-old. And from the age of 5-week-old, they chucked her outside in the snow where it was this thick. See? That thick. And they just didn't care. And because she pooed and weed in a corner because she was a little bit confused, because they bought her, they got her pine cat litter, you know, the wood cat litter. They bought her that. Well, she didn't like it. She just don't know what it was. She just did not like cat litter, and she wouldn't go on it. So instead of going on the cat litter, she went in a corner somewhere in a conservatory, and she did her poos and wees in that corner. And when she found out that she'd been doing that, she just picked her up and threw her. I'd say it was about 6 foot across the kitchen against her units, and she bragged off that she'd done it more than once, quite a few occasions. Every time she found she'd done it, that's what she did. Instead of trying to get a different cat litter to just see if it was the cat litter she didn't like, no, she just threw her across the kitchen cupboards. Very nice person. And when we got her, I mean, what annoyed me, we got her, she was just over 5 weeks. I mean, to be honest, she shouldn't have even had her at 5 weeks, because they're not old enough to leave the mother at 5 weeks. And when we got her, she was still lapping, which is where they're not eat. They like try and lick the food. She couldn't eat the food. She just couldn't do it. So we had to try and help her eat her food, and we were giving her cat milk. And yeah, so she wasn't eating. So we helped her with that, and she was a nervous wreck. And even now, she is 10 years old, and you cannot walk straight up to her and fuss her. You cannot just physically walk up to her. You have to let her come to you, or if you want to fuss her, you have to crouch down to the floor and let her come to you. You just physically can't walk up to her, because, and I think it's the woman that had her used to charge up to her, grab hold of her and throw her. So and she hasn't forgot. And even though we're not like that, it's hard to forget, isn't it? So yeah, and needless to say, that woman is no longer our friend. We don't have anything more to do with her. And I'm happy to say, don't usually say this about people, her marriage ended, and I was so glad, because she was an evil woman. She was an evil woman. Even to her husband, she was an evil woman. I mean, at the time when we got Mel, our little Mel, we got a brother. We got a little black cat called Nick. I know, he was gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. He had a thing about black bags. He had a thing about carrier bags. He liked laying in carrier bags. And you could come home with a bag full of shopping and empty your shopping out, and within minutes of you emptying your shopping out, he'd be in your bag. And if they were paper bags, that were even better. Oh, good God. Oh, used to love paper bags. But I'm saying used to, so, but nothing happened to him. He hadn't died or anything. But we had to sadly rehome him, which broke our hearts. We didn't like doing that. Mel followed my son to school one day, and on the way, she used to follow him to school, which we didn't know she did this. He only happened to mention that she did it. Anyway, she followed him to school, and he took a different route, and she got lost, and she went missing for 2 weeks. We lost her, and unknown to us, there were a woman on the back of where we lived, and Mel was going there, and she was feeding her. This woman has loads of stray cats go to her for feeding, and she feeds them all. Lovely woman. She used to own a beautiful red setter, absolutely beautiful red setter. It was the most friendliest, dopiest thing. I used to absolutely adore it. It's passed away now, sadly. And I'm going to put this one on. One day she said, because we put posts on all over, asking if anybody's seen Mel, or Little Mel as we call her. Has anybody seen her? We posted all over, on trees, we posted on lamp posts, shop windows, you name it, all in the park, everywhere. And anyway, 2 weeks went by and we never heard anything. And she came past with a red setter one day, and she said, "Have you lost your little Mel? I've seen a post. I'm sure I'm feeding her. I'm sure there's a cat that just matches her description, because we put photos of her on these posts." And she says, "I'm sure it's a cat I'm feeding." Anyway, she says, "If it comes again, I'll grab it." And which she'd be lucky to do, because Mel never ever let anybody near her. Never. Like I say, you couldn't walk up to her. And anyway, one day she turned up on the door and she got her in her arms. It was the most happiest moment. Oh, I took hold of her and I cuddled her, which she didn't like. She will only let you cuddle her if she wants cuddling. You can't go up and cuddle her. Anyway, I took her out of her arms and I was like, "Mel!" Oh, and I'm cuddling her and cuddling her and cuddling her. And she's stuck trying to get out of my arms. And anyway, we got her back. And but when she came back, because Mick didn't go missing, he stayed with us. And when she came back, she was just a total different cat. She hated Mick. Every time he came near the door, she'd stand near the door, wait for him to come, and she'd attack him. And I mean, she'd attack him. She'd really go for him. Anyway, we tried having it go on for a good couple of months to see how it would settle, because we thought, she's had you can only imagine what she's gone through. So we tried to see if she'd settle down, and no, it got worse and it got worse. She'd wait for him coming through the door, she'd attack him. She just turned really nasty. And we sadly had to rehome him, which we didn't want to do, because when we buy a pet or have a pet given us, it's for life, that's it, until the day passes over, and goes to the Rainbow Bridge. So for us to have to give in and let him go, it just, no. And we thought world of him, absolutely thought the world of him. And the reason we rehomed Mick is because we knew Mel would be a lot harder to rehome. She's hard to work out. Out of both of them that come from my friends, Mel was the one that didn't cope more with it. Mick he seemed to just sit back and put up with it, but Mel she just couldn't seem to take it. And she really had issues. So we decided Mick would be the best one to rehome, because we knew we'd find someone for him. And we did, we found a lovely home for him. It just wasn't very nice that we had to get rid. Such a sad situation. And of course I felt like I was giving in, and I was one of these horrible people that just rehome the pets, and oh yeah, it weren't very nice. It tore me in two. But he's living the life of Riley. I still talk to the person that has him, and he's great. He's great, bless him. Still loves carrier bags. But yeah. But anyway, I'll just do a flip through what I've done, and I'm going to add things to it, as you know. I'll add bits to it. It'll be awesome when it's finished. Pages are sticky. I should really put some plastic sheet. Do you know, I threw some away. I'll fetch that out. While I'm gluing stuff, I'll put this in. And all this is, you know, when you have your cereal, your plastic sheet from cereal, that's all that is. So I've put that in the bin. I've just fetched it out of the bin. And that'll be fine. So I'm just trying to get some pages of stuck. Nope, still got pages stuck. Do you know? Oh, that's where I've stuck the 2 pages. Oh, that's feeling a bit like it's going to come off. That page is feeling a bit fragile, so I'll have to be careful. Once it's been stuck with duct tape, it'll be fine. Do you know, I have one regret. When I had my 2 guide dogs, when I've had Ziggy is my 5th guide dog, and my very last guide dog I had, one I had to send back because it didn't work out. I'll tell you about that another time. It's a long story. But when you have your guide dogs pass away, they have a page. This is a page, and it's called Lest We Never Forget. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that. And these are all pictures of dogs, of guide dogs that have passed away. And these are what people have put in about the guide dogs. And I do have regrets, because when I had Ramble, she was a black Labrador. When I had Ramble and she passed away, I was so devastated that she died. I'm sure, I think I posted a picture, a thingy in here, but I don't think I had a picture. I forgot to send the picture, and they posted it in here. And somewhere I have that magazine, but I don't know where it is. I can't remember where I've put it. And when I do find that, I think I will make a magazine journal and have what I've put in from her. But the one regret I do have is Fern, my very last guide dog that passed away. I was that distraught and upset at having her pass away, because Ramble and Fern died within 6 months of each other. I lost Ramble, and then I lost Fern 6 months after, and I was so devastated. Ramble was only a guide dog for for 18 months, and no, sorry, not 18 months, a year and a half she was a guide dog. Some idiots set a pit bull on her, which that's another story I'll have to tell you if you want me to. Anyway, she ended up retiring because she was a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. She couldn't seem to cope with herself. Every time she saw a dog, she would either have a go at them, be the best friends, or just stand there and shake while she was working. And it got to a stage where it got impossible to work with her, because she, I just never knew what she was going to do when a dog was going to be around, and it was getting unpredictable, and so we had to sadly. I had to ask guide dogs to take a look at her, and I had to work her so they could see. And when I worked her, they could see as she were actually working, she was shaking on the lead in the harness, and so you could just see it in her. She just wasn't happy. So they decided to retire her, and it was weird because she'd shake like a leaf when she was in harness, but as soon as you got the harness out to put on her, she'd be all ecstatic and happy, and she was going out, and I'm just unsticking the pages, by the way, because they're all a bit stuck. So it was weird. I just didn't know what she was doing from one day to the next, and so that's why guide dogs chose to retire her, because she was a bit very, very unpredictable. And then I got Ziggy. I got Fern. I had Fern for 8.5 years as a working guide dog. And anyway, she retired herself. She decided she weren't going to work anymore. And it was really weird because I was out working with her, and she decided she was going to go under. We like going to flea markets and things, as you've probably heard me talking of previous. That's got 2 pages stuck together. Previous videos I've mentioned going to flea markets, picking things up. And I was looking at something, and she went under a table and would not come back out. And she just wouldn't come back out. And I took her harness off. And the minute I took her harness off, she was so happy. And to test, to see how she were, I put the harness back on. Because I wanted to see if it was her working that was bothering her. So I put a harness back on, and her head went down, really, really down, nearly touching the floor down, and her tail dropped right down between her legs. And I then called my husband, told my husband what was happening and what she was doing, and he then came over. I'm going to put that on next. That's so pretty. He then came over to see what was wrong, and I showed him what she was doing, and he agreed. He didn't think she was happy, and anyway, I took the harness off again, and when I took the harness off, she was happy again. She went all happy, and I'd took the harness off, and she couldn't have been more happy. So we decided that was it, because I hadn't got my stick, I hadn't got my long cane, so I couldn't go round on my own. So he had to take my arm that day, and I just left the harness off her, and that was the day I didn't work her anymore, and I waited for guide dogs to come and see me, because they always have to come and do an assessment to see if it's right what you're saying, basically. And oh, that's a bit chaotic there. Shall I put that on the other side? Yeah, I'll change it round. They have to come and do an assessment, and Ian Armstrong was my guide dog trainer. Absolutely great guy, brilliant guy. He retires this year. I'm a cake decorator, believe it or not, visually impaired. But you won't believe some of the cakes I've made, but I don't make cakes anymore. I decided cakes. I mean, I've been a cake decorator for 15 years. Excuse me a minute. I've been a cake decorator for 15 years, and I got fed up of making cakes and awkward people. I'd had enough. I didn't want to do it anymore. So on that side, no, that side. I just decided I didn't want to do cakes anymore, and that's what I did, and I've been happy since. I've been so happy since I've decided I'm not doing no more cakes. I make them for friends and family, but that's it. I'm not doing any more for anybody else because I just don't enjoy it. I enjoy it when it's friends and family I'm doing it for. But that's about your lot. I think you come to a stage where you just don't want to do it. I mean, I'll probably feel like that about crafting. You know, in years to come, I'll probably decide I don't like crafting anymore. But at the moment, I absolutely love crafting. But anyway, yeah, they came and looked at her and assessed. He came, sorry, and assessed her to see if it were right. And I didn't want anybody else coming, because I didn't want anybody else coming and saying, yeah, she's fine. I knew she'd had enough. You don't go and have a guide dog for 8.5 years to not know they've had enough. I mean, I'd known a good year and a half before that she was getting to the stage where she'd had enough. You know, I got to the stage where I just knew she'd had it. She'd finished. Like me with cake decorating, I'd had it. I didn't want somebody else coming and saying, "Oh no, she'll be fine. She'll be all right for another year." You know, I mean, she were 8.5, and she were getting tired, and she had that sexy waddle, I used to call it, when she walked. So I just knew. But dogs do have that sexy waddle, and it's only dog owners that know what I mean. She used to walk like this, and it was so funny to watch her. But I just knew she had it. She didn't want to do it anymore. She wants to be a pet dog, and he just came and watched her work. And it was funny because she'd been pooing as well while she was out working. And she'd done it a few times while she was in supermarkets, and which was not like her. She wouldn't do that. So, you know, and as it happened, while I was out with her, she actually did a poo. And she was panting the whole way round while Ian was watching her. She was panting, and it was a stressed pant. She'd had enough. And anyway, we came back home, sat down, had a cup of tea, and he said, yeah, she's had enough. I'm going to retire her. And at the time he asked if I wanted another guide dog, and I said no, because I couldn't. No, sorry, yes I did. I said, yes, I'll have another guide dog. I'll have another guide dog. Anyway, 6 months down the line, they found me one. No, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. 6 months later, Fern started getting ill, and she started off the heart disease. Anyway, this heart disease went on for a good many years, and she got to 13, and the vet said to me, it's really getting bad. And I always ask, are they in pain? Because if they're in pain, whether they're on medication or not. I mean, she were on medication anyway for her heart disease. She were on medication for that, and but there's only so far you can go in there. And anyway, she got to 13. This is coming up a bit. She got to 13 and she really started getting ill. And I took her back to the vets. And the vet said to me, you'll be lucky if she makes it to 6 months. You know, if she'll be in 6 months. Anyway, and he were bang on. 6 months later, she were sat at the bottom of the bed, and it was the most strangest thing I've ever seen. Honestly, I've never seen anything quite like it. She was at the bottom of the bed, because she always used to sleep at bottom of our bed in a basket. And where's my wet cloth? Where's my wet cloth gone? Oh, do you know, I can't find it now. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll rub my fingers. It was the most strangest thing. She was sat at the bottom of the bed, and she'd got slime coming out of her mouth, and she kept coughing, and it was like something out of an horror movie. I'll never forget it. I'll never ever forget it. The way she coughed. Never forget it. It was like it was like a, you know the way a fox screams at night? It was like that, but imagine it croaky. It was like that. It was like a fox screaming with a croaky voice. And that's how it worked. And it went through you. It really did go through you. And it was just, I've never heard her do that before. I've never heard her cough like that before. I will never ever forget the way she coughed like that. Never. And anyway, I took her to the vet. She couldn't get up. She was covered in slime. I kept having to wipe her face every 5 minutes because the whole of her face was just, it was like Slimer, being slimed from Slimer out of Ghostbusters. And so I'd wipe her face, and we took her to the vets. She couldn't walk, and we had her down at vets, and I didn't like it because the vet that we saw weren't the one we usually see. The one we usually see is called David, and he's great, and he weren't there. He were off, and I weren't happy because he weren't there. It was this woman that we saw that I didn't like. She's one of them. She always gives you flipping details and this, that, and other, and she tells you all flipping ins and outs and everything instead of just giving you a decision sort of thing. And I kept saying, is she in pain? Well, blah, 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 this, and that. And I'm going, all I want to know is she in pain? And he's going, well, yes, she is. I'm going, right. And she's going, but we can put her on pain medication, but she'll always be in pain. And I was like, no, I'm not having her in pain. I don't want her in pain. I don't care whether she's on pain medication or not. And I was struggling, I must admit, because she'd been my guide. She was my guide for all that time. A good 8.5 years she was my guide, and she's helped me through many a awkward situation. And she that dog, honestly, I didn't get to have that experience with Ramble because I didn't have a long enough. I didn't have a long enough as a guide dog. I had a long enough as a pet dog, but not as a guide dog. And anyway, I'm going to have to make... I'll tell you about this on part 6, I think it is, because it's half an hour, and I'm going to make... I'll see you in a bit. I'll talk to you about it on part 6. Okay, because I don't know if it's going to cut out. So I'm going to come back in a bit. Okay, bye-bye.